What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 342. Once again, appreciate you all for listening and watching. It means the world to me. First, the Young Buck interview is officially out, the full thing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said earlier in the previous episodes, the Young Buck interview got cut short because I had a lot more I wanted to say and a lot more I wanted to ask. But I asked some questions that like most people wouldn't think of to ask, so that ended up making the interview a little bit more special. And you can tell Buck appreciated that throughout the whole interview as well. He's probably tired of hearing the same type of questions. And I did some of it. I did have the same questions as like Vlad or whoever else has interviewed him. But I felt like I asked some questions that like nobody asked, like the Slow Your Roll record. I was about to say Lose My Mind with Eminem. That's one of the questions I was going to ask as well that I didn't get a chance to. But the Slow Your Roll record with the Linkin Park lead singer Chester Bennington, who passed away from suicide. You know, he talked about that record and how that came about, and a lot of people appreciated that, which is really cool. And, you know, the G-Unit chain story, never heard Buck speak on that, so on and so forth. So that's officially done. I have officially put out Hot Rod. So if you don't know who Hot Rod is, he is a former G-Unit artist. I know, G-Unit this, G-Unit that. I wanted to start out, you know, if I'm doing these interviews, I wanted to start out with people that I really, really wanted to talk to. And what's funny about this Hot Rod interview is that I had reached out to him in like 2021, and it just never happened. And then randomly I reached out to him and he responded on DMs. It was like random as hell. So that was really cool. I wanted to talk about like what happened with the interview. So this is the behind the scenes stuff that you guys never see and never get to like witness. And I need to just have a camera guy follow me 24/7 because it would be interesting. So this interview got like rushed in terms of, and I know the Buck interview gets rushed. Now this one, no, I didn't get rushed in terms of the actual interview, right? But it got rushed in terms of me being there. If that makes sense. So what ended up happening was towards the end of June, we had made a plan. Okay, Hot Rod, I'm going to pull up towards the end of June in Arizona because that's where he's at. That's where he lives at. And everything is going good. Friday comes along. It's supposed to be over the weekend. So I was supposed to leave Friday afternoon, get there Friday night, sleep. Then the whole Saturday we have to prepare for Hot Rod and do the interview that Saturday afternoon. That was the plan. And then I leave Sunday morning. That was the plan. But what ends up happening is, so first, and this is where the money spending comes in. This is why I say, you know, if you guys can support me on YouTube memberships or on Patreon, it means the world because these interviews cost sometimes a lot of money. And this is where the crazy money spending ended up happening. And it was through no fault of my own. It was just God's plan. Let's just say that. So I was supposed to leave, you know, Friday afternoon, go there, land there. The Arizona time difference is about 3 hours. So I think I had my flight scheduled to leave at 9, and then it's a 4-hour flight. But by the time I get there, it'll be 3 hours behind, if that makes sense. So I would get there, I don't know, I'd get there like at 6, whatever the time difference would be, right? So it'd be 3 hours ahead. So you don't really lose time, I guess, or it'd be 1 hour ahead. I don't know. I'm confused here, but whatever. It's a 3-hour time difference. It's ahead. So if I leave, I'm supposed to land there at 12 at night. It's supposed to be like 10 at night instead, right? So I go to Tofili, so I pay the Uber. Somebody has to pick me up from my house to take me to the airport. So I pay the Uber, which is $70, $80 to go, because I'm far away from the airport. I'm about an hour away. So I pay the Uber $70, $80 to go to Tofili, who, if you guys don't know who Tofili is, he used to be on this podcast. He helped me out. So he's helping me out with this interview. He's like, all right, I'll help out. I got some free time. You know, I can pull up because I need somebody to be there to at least check the cameras, audio, all that stuff. It really helps out a lot. So he's like, yeah, I'll be there. So I go to his place. His place is closer to the airport. It's about 20 minutes away from the airport. So I go to him. I spend $60, $70 going in. Then from there, we go to the airport. But what ends up happening is the weather starts to get bad. Starts to rain, starts to thunderstorm. In my mind, I'm like, it's all right. It's not a big deal. You know, we'll still be able to fly. Of course, that doesn't happen. With my luck, the flight gets delayed. And then by the time 12:30 at night comes, canceled till the next day. So we're there at the airport for 3-4 hours. Nothing happens. We leave. Now I have to pay again for an Uber to take me to Tofili's spot, which is 20 minutes away. $30, $40, whatever the amount is. Then from the Philly spot to my house, which is another $60, $70. So you can imagine, let's just say each Uber was $90, $180 just went like that because of a flight getting canceled. Now, this is what you guys aren't remembering is I paid for the hotel for that Friday night, for Saturday night, and then leave Sunday morning. So I missed that whole Friday night. I didn't get to be at the hotel. So I spent, I don't even know how much, $130 for that hotel, $140. So there goes another $130, $140. Now you're looking at $450, almost $500 like that in a snap, an instant gone. Then the next day comes, 11:30 is when my flight's supposed to depart. This time, Tafili can't come because he works at Delta and he gets free flights if the flights are if there's a seat that's free, that's empty. And, paying for him to fly that last minute would have cost me an extra $500, $600, which I don't have. I'm not about to spend $4 or $5 grand, just to fly and do an interview. That's how crazy it would have gotten. And I didn't want to do that knowing that it'd potentially get delayed, whatever. So he couldn't make it. So now it's just me. I'm going there. I get there. It says 11:30 is about to depart. I get there, get exactly at the place I'm supposed to be at. Boom, flight gets delayed. Boom, flight delayed. Flight delayed, flight delayed. By the time I know it, it is 4:30 in the afternoon. Now, remember, I fly over there. I get there at 5:30. The flight's 4 hours long, but it's a 3-hour time difference. So I leave here like 4:30. I get there like 5:30. Mind you, I paid an Uber to get there, so $80, $90. That's another $80, $90 down the drain. Then I get an Uber to go to the hotel, which is another $15, $20 because luckily the hotel is close to the airport. So there goes about $120 just that day. Mind you, I'm getting there late. That Saturday is when the interview is supposed to happen. So I get there at 5:30, get to the hotel by like 6:10, 6:20, because by the time you leave the airport, you get the drill. By the time you get there, it's about 6:20. So I tell Hot Rod, listen, I know we had it planned at 8 o'clock, but I need at least an extra hour because I haven't ate, I haven't showered, I feel like shit. You get the whole drill. The airport flying sometimes it's hell. Order a big, large pizza because I know I'm not going to be able to go anywhere to eat again. It's going to be a thing where I'm going to eat half of it and eat the rest half later, and I was right. So shout out to me for predicting that. Get a pizza, eat half of it, shower, get ready, get the cameras ready, get the audio testing, all that stuff. I get to the area where we're going to shoot this interview, 9 o'clock. Mind you, have to get an Uber to get there, so another $20, $30. I get there. I'm paying for the studio time because it's a studio area, and this is a legendary studio. We're talking a place where Lil Wayne recorded the Carter 3, the Carter 4, and the Carter 6, and a bunch of artists. There's Chameleon that was there. There was Ozzy Osbourne recipe, a bunch of people, just legendary artists that I can't even think off the top of my head right now. Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Durk, whoever you can think of was there at that studio. So legendary studio, now we have to pay because I paid 8 o'clock. I'm getting there at 9 times, okay. So now I have to pay extra because I'm a little bit behind. Get there. Interview goes great. It's about a 4-hour long interview. So it's exactly what I wanted. Everything was answered that I had asked at that time. Beautiful interview. After the interview is done, I checked the time. It is literally 2:30 at night. Now, why is this a big deal? My flight leaves at 4:10. Because remember, I had originally planned for me to get there Friday night, not get there Saturday midday, delayed all this, and then get there so late. So I'm like, shit, it's 2:30. I pack up. I tell Hot Rod I got to get going. Uber comes like 2:45. I get to the hotel like 3:10. I got to shower, eat again, go straight to the airport, and catch my flight. Luckily, I don't even know how. This is just pure. This is the only thing that went right for me in terms of, besides the interview going right, and obviously this is the only thing that went right for me in terms of like flying, is I got there on time. Like as they were starting to board people, I got right there because I don't know that airport, Arizona. I've never been there before. Got there on time. They started boarding. Nothing got delayed, thank God. Got on there exhausted. Mind you, I woke up at like 7:30 that morning, Saturday. So you got to think, it's 4:30 when I'm getting the flight. By the time I get to Atlanta, we're looking at a 3-hour time difference, so it's pushed ahead. There was a couple with babies right next to me. Luckily, they gave me the window seat because they had the babies, whatever. So I didn't end up getting any sleep. I got the window seat, which was cool, but ended up not getting no sleep at all. Get there at Atlanta, finally. And by the time I get home, it's like 1 o'clock, and I eat food because I'm hungry. It was let's just say the flight was just, the whole flying and getting there was just horrendous. But that's the behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't see. No, I got like 29 hours of no sleep, basically 30 hours, somewhere around there of no sleep. So after I got done eating, I just crashed and just fell asleep. But that's the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So I hope you guys really enjoy this interview. I hope you guys support it, whichever way you can, sharing it, liking, commenting, all that, because some of this stuff got to go through is hell. And I dealt a lot with this with the Get Rich or Die Trying documentary too, where things are just going so quick. And what's funny is the third interview I did, I had to deal with another thing. So I'll tell you guys when that third interview starts to come out, I'll tell you guys that story as well. But yeah, I just wanted to say the Hot Rod interview is out. Hot Rod was an artist that was signed to G Unit Records in 2006. He basically hit the lottery. 50 Cent heard him and said, quit your job and come out and work for me on G Unit Records and do your thing. Just a very interesting story. Very cool guy, man. Very humble, respectful, genius in his own right. Very, 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 very cool story. So I hope you guys enjoy the interview. It's on the main channel, The Verse Mentality, so check it out. Now let's get into the news. And Diddy's prosecutors have issued a fiery response to the $50 million bail request. So let's go over it right now. Scrolling down, Diddy's legal battle continues, and recently he was slammed by the prosecution yet again. Last month, the mogul's federal trial came to an end. After roughly 2 months, he was found not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering and guilty of 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. He faces a maximum sentence of 10 years behind bars per count. While this certainly isn't ideal for the Bad Boy founder, it's a far lighter potential sentence than he could have been facing had the jury reached a different conclusion. Regardless, his team requested a retrial this week in hopes of getting his conviction overturned. Mr. Combs at most paid to engage in voyeurism as part of his swingers lifestyle. His attorneys argue that does not constitute prostitution under any properly limited definition of the statutory term. It looks like they responded because he wanted a $50 million bond, and prosecutors were quick to respond their stance. In a fiery response filed yesterday, July 31st, they alleged that Diddy could pose a risk to others and be a flight risk. The defendant's temper and violence were unpredictable, U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton alleged per All Hip Hop. It's impossible for the defendant, having repeatedly conceded his propensity for violence at trial, to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that he poses no danger to any other person or the community. Yeah, basically the argument of like, hey, this guy, is still dangerous. You guys saw the footage of him putting his hands on Cassie and so on and so forth, which, it's a typical response for prosecutors. But yeah, man, I don't think he's going to get bail. I think he's going to do some time. I'd be really surprised if he got bail because it would send the message that because you're a superstar, because you got money, you can get away with things like this. There needs to be some type of punishment. Yeah, he's been locked up for what? I don't even know how long. When did he get locked up? Probably a year now, which is, a decent amount of time to be, any time really be locked up sucks, but a year is a good chunk of time. But for him to get released, that's going to send a little, I think if he serves another like 2 years, it'll be like, okay, you know what? He's done for whatever he's done, his time, move on, blah, blah, blah. But Diddy's never going to be able to like go back to normal life. Nobody's going to view him as like the Diddy who's, making the band and all this, flashy lifestyle and everybody's fucking with him and blah, blah, blah. Nah. He's not going to get these awards. He's not going to show up at award shows. He's not going to, it's for his career, it's practically over. But the good thing for him is he has enough money to live the rest of his life. No problem. I'm sure he's got at least $200-300 million still left over. Probably more. Who knows? But for him, he's all good financially. Doesn't have anything to worry about. I don't know if this will affect his kids. I don't know if he's ruined generational wealth, which is kind of crazy to say if you have $200-300 million. But, he's a smart investor, I'm sure. And as long as his name isn't attached to anything anymore, he can still invest in companies and do things behind the scenes. And nobody would know, unless you're like digging into the, details of everything. Nobody would know. So he can go out and invest in a liquor company right now, and we wouldn't know unless he's pushing it and saying, I'm behind it. Then people would be like, I don't know if I'm going to fuck with it. But there's still Diddy supporters out there. There's still people out there that protested that, said that, hey, Diddy's an innocent person, blah, 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 which is crazy to me. Now, you can say he's innocent, whatever, on all these charges that he got. But For the domestic violence, you see that and you still support the person. That to me is crazy. Like, had I not seen the domestic violence, let's just say we never saw the domestic violence on Diddy, I could see where people are at with like supporting him because, hey, Cassie was with the stuff when it was happening. She never had an issue until the money stopped. All of a sudden, she's got an issue. And there's no solid proof of things, and it's speculation of this and that. So I can see where people stand in the middle with that, like, and be like, or just be like, hey, I take Diddy's side or I take, Cassie's side, whatever. I can see where the divide is between that. But we clearly saw him beat the shit out of Cassie. So I don't know how anybody could be like, oh, that's all right, I still support him. Nah, like, fuck out of here with that. To me, I can never even support this guy ever again. But we'll keep our eyes posted and see what happens moving forward. Continuing on, Sean Kingston's lawyer doesn't want anything to do with Sean Kingston, which is crazy. Let's go over the article. Sean Kingston's attorney, Robert A. Rosenblatt, is requesting that a judge let him sever ties with the singer. Both sides say the attorney-client relationship has fallen apart. The move comes in the wake of his federal fraud case for which he was found guilty earlier this year. This marks the second time Rosenblatt has tried to abandon the case, as he was previously denied from doing so back in May of 2025. At the time, Kingston reprimanded him for allegedly speaking with the media in a fiery email. I am writing to formally request that you cease speaking to the media or any other third parties regarding my case, as the information being shared is incorrect and potentially damaging. I also want to remind you of the importance of maintaining attorney-client privilege. Furthermore, do not speak on my behalf to the prosecutor, judge, or anyone else from this point forward, Kingston wrote at the time. Rosenblatt has denied the accusation. It is apparent from Kingston's emails and texts that he does not want the undersigned to talk judges or prosecutors on his behalf. Rosenblatt wrote, as caught by All Hip Hop, he did not oppose the withdrawal of counsel in the state case. Further, it is clear that irreconcilable differences have terminated the attorney-client relationship to the extent that it has become adversarial. I'm horrible at pronouncing words. Rosenblatt also says that Kingston has another lawyer, Soulja Boy. That sounds straight up Bosnian, Serbian, Albanian. Nah, probably not Albanian, but it sounds like some of my Balkan people out there. Soulja Boy. I'm about to check this guy up. Lined up to continue with the case in his absence. Kingston's sentencing hearing is set for later this month. Let's see what this guy. Who is this guy? Oh, it's a girl. Interesting. Yeah, she's got something going on with Bosnian or Albanian. Not Albanian, because that name kind of does not look Albanian. Interesting. Anyways, I'm getting distracted on that. Yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see what happens moving forward. But, if your lawyer's tired of you, then, yeah, there's probably some shit going on. And it's interesting. You can actually go to trial with your lawyer that you don't like. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, if I had an issue with my lawyer, wouldn't the trial get delayed so I can get somebody new? If I don't want this lawyer, why the fuck would I? Crazy, man. Crazy. But we'll keep our eyes posted moving forward. Speaking of lawsuits, Lil Uzi Vert has been sued for allegedly orchestrating attack on a bystander. This is crazy. Lil Uzi Vert is no stranger to rap-based beef, but some of their other alleged confrontations take on more of a serious tone. They recently received a lawsuit from a man named Von Trotman, who claims they orchestrated an attack on him in New York City in April 2024. Per All Hip Hop, the civil New York lawsuit claims the alleged incident occurred after Trotman took a picture of the Philly Star's car on Broadway near 27th Street. The plaintiff alleged that Uzi yelled a racial slur and told their securities to get that man in the blue. Uzi then emerged from their vehicle and descended upon Vaughn as well while Vaughn was being choked, kicked, and punched, Trotman's attorney Jack Berry alleged. Sadly, these are not Lil Uzi Vert's only allegations of violence. As of late, another man sued the second time for an alleged Manhattan assault in 2023. However, that case is on shaky ground as a judge found no evidence proving the artist had anything to do with an attack. We will see how that one turns out. As for Vaughn's lawsuit, his filing claims that Uzi participated in an alleged attack and insulted him as their team continued to attack him. He alleged serious physical harm requiring surgery, emotional trauma, and lost income as a result of the alleged incident. After the alleged attack, a former city girls' boo allegedly acknowledged they damaged Tortman's phone and threw money at the passerby. Lil Uzi unrolled their window, acknowledged that they broke Von's phone, and then, to add insult to injury, threw a handful of $100 bills into the crowd while calling Von an expletive, Trotman's lawyer alleged. Lil Uzi drove away from the scene of the attack. Wow. You know, man, with these things, you never know what's true, but, you know, if there is proof in any way, shape, or form, cameras around, because in today's time, if you're doing this type of stuff, like, the chance of you getting caught is like 80%, which is high, really, really high. And why do this? Like, some of these artists, I think they think they're untouchable because they have so much money and they have this level of fame where they think that they just get away with anything. This isn't the 90s anymore. This isn't Suge Knight hanging Vanilla Ice over the balcony, even though Vanilla Ice said that wasn't a true story or whatever. I don't know. That whole story is fucking fishy and funny in its own way. But this isn't the 90s like that, where Suge Knight can just slap you around and nobody can do anything because there's no proof. We're living in 2025, where there's cameras literally everywhere. It's in your pocket. People have their phones, immediately start recording anything that happens. So I just don't get anybody doing any type of crime in today's time. Like, I can understand it when there was no cameras, right? Okay, I can get away with this crime. I can rob, steal, do whatever. I can get away with it. Today's time, the chances of you getting away with anything is like 5%, if that. You know, I watch these crime documentaries and these crime stories where these people, like, they're just so stupid. They'll kill somebody and they'll take their phone with them, where it just tracks the cell phone towers where they're going. And it's like, what the fuck are you? You're just an idiot. Like, you deserve everything wrong going. First off, you murdered somebody. You're a piece of shit for that. And then second off, like, you're just a grade A moron. It's crazy to me. If you're going to commit an insane crime like killing somebody, at least plan, at least figure out, how can I not be tracked? Which is impossible, by the way, because here's the issue with a lot of these crimes, right? You're probably going to want to do it somewhere far away from wherever you're at. And the problem with that is the further you are away from whatever location that you don't want to do the crime in, the more chances there are that the cameras are going to catch your car or something related to you. Because the longer distance you're driving, the longer distance you're away from a certain area, the more chances cameras catch you. And that's just the reality of the situation. Whether that's selling drugs, whether that's killing somebody, whether that's a drive-by shooting, whether that's, I don't know, whatever, kidnapping, whatever crime you're doing, assault, abusing somebody, whatever crime you're doing, you know, in today's time, it makes no sense to do it. So if you're one of those people that are looking to do a crime, just stop, please. If you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking about robbing somebody, just know that you're going to get caught. It's not worth it. Just get a job like everybody else, like we all have to do every single day in work. It sucks. I know sometimes working sucks, but hey, we all got to do it. It's part of our lives. Some people like their jobs a lot more. Some people don't. It is what it is. Robbing ain't the way to fix it. Crazy. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on this Lil Uzi Vert lawsuit and see what happens moving forward, because as long as this person has proof, the lawsuit's going to go. Speaking of another lawsuit / legal issue, Soulja Boy has been arrested in Los Angeles after police reportedly found a gun during a traffic stop. Let's go over the article. Law enforcement sources told TMZ that the rapper was a passenger in a vehicle that was pulled over around 2:30 a.m. Sunday in Los Angeles. During the stop, officers spotted a firearm in the car. Authorities took Soulja into custody and booked him on suspicion of being a felon in possession of a firearm. It's currently unclear what prompted the traffic stop in the first place, and details about the firearm or whether anyone else was involved remain unclear as well. NBC LA first reported the arrest. Soulja Boy has been arrested on gun possession charges multiple times over the last 15 years. In 2014, LAPD arrested him for possession of a loaded weapon, though he claimed that police did not have probable cause. In 2016, he was once again arrested for having a gun in his house, which violated the terms of his probation from his 2014 charge. This trend has continued through the years, though it seemingly stopped over the last half decade. This arrest is not the first time that Soulja Boy's had a run-in with the law. This year in April, he was found liable of sexual assault against Jane Doe that sued him in 2021. The victim was awarded $4.25 million following the conclusion of the proceedings. As of writing, we do not have more details on the circumstances surrounding his arrest. Anyways, this is the typical case of people just not doing their due diligence. Like, if you know you're a felon, be aware if anybody has. First off, I get it if you're an artist, right, and you want to protect yourself. Because here's a perfect example of someone who are people around that could have protected this artist, and that is Nipsey Hussle. You got to think, when he got killed, everyone around him was a felon. So they didn't have guns. They didn't carry any guns because they didn't want to get caught lacking because the police would stop by the Marathon store like almost every day and harass them. So during that moment, Nipsey didn't carry a gun with him. Cowboy didn't carry a gun with him. Anybody else that was around that area did not carry a gun. So what did that do? That ended up having, what's his name? And that shitty cuz guy, that piece of shit who killed Nipsey. He ended up shooting Nipsey twice, I think. Could have been once, twice. Left because he was worried there was going to be retaliation towards him. But then came back, shot another 2 times, left again, quick to see if there's anybody shooting back at him. Nobody was shooting back at him, and then came back and practically finished the job. Had somebody shot back at him, Nipsey would have probably got hit 2, maybe 3 times, and probably been alive. But here's the unfortunate part. I think the first bullet hit his spine, and he immediately collapsed. So he probably wouldn't have been able to walk. He would have been handicapped, I think. Just based off the footage that I saw, it seemed like that situation. But I'm saying all this to say, you're an artist. Obviously, you ride around with guns for your safety and protection. At least follow the traffic laws so you don't get pulled over. Like, try to follow the traffic laws as best as possible. If I'm a felon and I know somebody has a gun in the car for my protection, but I'm a felon, I can't have a pistol, then everybody should be on point when they're driving. Nobody should be high, drunk. Everybody should be on point when they're driving. But, Soulja Boy hasn't been arrested in these type of related charges for a long time. So shit happens, but, maybe don't carry a gun. If you know you're going to an area where you don't really need a gun, then don't have a gun. For your protection, I get it. It makes sense. As a celebrity, you have to have some type of protection around you. It's just Nipsey Hussle is the perfect example of why you need to have guns around you for a celebrity. That's just the reality situation. If you're going to have it with you as a felon, follow the rules, follow the traffic laws, whatever you can do to make sure you don't get pulled over with that. It's a shitty situation overall, but we'll keep our eyes posted and see what happens. If he does serve a lot of time, breaking these laws back and forth. I don't know about the domestic violence thing. She did get awarded money, so if Soulja Boy really put his hands on her, he is a piece of shit for that. But, we'll see what happens moving forward. Continuing on, great news if you are a hip-hop fan. Alchemist announced on his Twitter, let me go over it word for word, the new Mobb Deep album is done. Produced entirely by Havoc and The Alchemist. Round of applause, man. Round of applause. I am excited as fuck. When's the last time we got a Mobb Deep album, actually? Let me actually check. It's been a fat minute. A real fat minute. Because I know they dropped that, what's that project with that? Black Cocaine, I think it is. That's the last project they dropped. Yeah, Black Cocaine was the last one that I downloaded, at least. That was a great project. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, the last time they released a project was 2014, which is a long time ago, roughly 11 years ago. Now, my question is, listen, Alchemist and Havoc producing, perfect. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? I'm just concerned with, first off, shout out to Mass Appeal, because they're the ones that are really spearheading a lot of these older hip-hop legends to drop projects. With Ghostface, Killa dropping, his project through Mass Appeal, and now Mobb Deep, they're doing a lot of great work, right? But my concern is the Prodigy vocals. As we know, Prodigy passed away in 2017. So how is that going to work? Did Prodigy have enough unreleased music where it makes sense to drop this album? I hope Havoc, if I can get Havoc on my platform to talk about this project, I would love that. He does follow my Instagram page, so I will try to make that happen. I'll try my best. Or Havoc and Alchemist at the same time. I would love to talk to both of them, honestly. That would be great. Both of them at the same time would be even better. But that's my question is like, how is the Prodigy vocals? Are they going to implement some AI into it? Who knows? Will they tell us if they do? You know, we don't know. I hope not. I hope they have, which I know Havoc and Alchemist have the integrity and respect for Prodigy to not, you know, implement some AI shit to it. Unless, you know, and here's, we've talked about this on the podcast before. If the family is okay with AI being implemented with their loved one's voice, then who am I to complain and who am I to say it's wrong? It becomes a wrong thing when the record label decides, hey, we're going to drop a project from this artist with no approval from the family. And we're just going to drop AI vocals and say this is the new project from, I don't know, Pop Smoke or Lil Uzi Vert or XXXTentacion or Nipsey Hussle, whatever. That's where I feel it gets wrong. And record labels, to a certain extent, they are snaky and dirty like that. So with this project, if let's just say they are using some AI vocals, I don't know. I think Prodigy had enough music to where they don't have to, but let's just say they are. If the family approves of it, who am I to complain and, you know, say, hey, it's wrong? I'll listen to it if the family approves of it. So clearly, if the project's coming out, it's completed, the family is approving of it, whatever it is. But I'm excited. Like I said, we haven't got a Mobb Deep project in over 11 years. So I am really excited. I don't know what to expect. I might go on YouTube live and actually stream this. Hopefully, we'll see when the release date is and stuff like that. Because actually, I do leave overseas in September for about a week and a half, which is going to suck because the podcast is going to be a little delayed there for that little time. But you guys will be able to enjoy artist interviews and stuff like that on the main channel. So there'll be content consistently coming. But for at least a week and a half, I have to go overseas to take care of some business. So in September. But we'll see when that project comes out. I will try and live stream it. Also, I forgot to mention this. I am going to try and build that podcast area for my actual house instead of this office so I can record news a lot quicker and deliver it and then patch it up, put each news clip part into a full episode like this. That's the goal, at least. So I'm going to do that fairly quickly. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward with this Mobb Deep project. I'm excited. I can't wait for the first single if they are pushing it with a single. But yeah, I think Havoc and Alchemist are going to do it justice. Continuing on, 50 Cent, and I know I keep mentioning him on every podcast, but he makes the headlines and news. So what can I do, guys? 50 Cent continues to go after Ryan Cavalcanti, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, Cavalcanti, in court, and recently he filed a new motion against the film financer. Per All Hip Hop, the motion accuses Ryan, Skillhouse Movie LLC, and Gen TV LLC of agreeing to a 9-point settlement earlier this year. Allegedly, however, they later tried to change the terms. Fifth is asking the court to enforce the original agreement. Here it proposed the settlement agreement is, his lawyers wrote, kindly say yes or no. Mr. Jackson will unfortunately and adamantly not accept any further negotiation. Allegedly, Ryan's team said yes that same day. The law is clear that settlement agreements are favored and enforceable, whereas here the parties have agreed to all material terms and objectively manifested their intent to be bound, the motion states. 50 Cent first sued Ryan in April in an attempt to block the release of the film Skillhouse. He alleged that the film was being falsely promoted as a 50 Cent film despite there being no finalized contract in place. He also alleged that he hadn't been paid for his role in promoting the film. Shortly before filing, Fifth called out Ryan online in a series of scathing posts. They can't release this movie Skillhouse without my signature, which they do not have, he captioned on Instagram post at the time. What kind of business are they doing? I'd hate to have to demonstrate. This guy, Ryan, is doing everything in his power to make me kill this movie, he captioned. This one is going in a trash can. 50 Cent even went on to bring up Ryan's 2008 alleged DUI arrest, making it clear he wasn't backing down. You know, this movie looked interesting. I never thought it was going to be anything successful, though, to be honest with you guys. It was one of those movies that just, you know, and I'm going to say this about practically, and it's not even 50 related, just movies in general have become subpar to just horrible. Like, I haven't watched a movie that came out recently and was like, wow, like this movie is amazing. You know, I watched that movie. What was that movie with sex trafficking kids where the guy's saving the kid from being sex trafficked? Sound of Freedom. So I watched that. That was a good movie. It had like a good meaning behind it. But like, other than that, I don't really remember like a movie that like made me be like, whoa, like this is a great movie. lot of new movies are just horrible. And this Skillhouse one with 50 just did not look good at all. It looked very subpar. Releasing it is not going to do anything for anybody's career. A lot of stuff like this has just been subpar. I think we've peaked in movies. And I saw Quentin Tarantino say this. Every 20 to 30 years, the pendulum swings a certain way where things are creative and innovative, and then they go to let's remake this 80s movie. Let's remake this 90s movie. And everything just is the same and boring. And to be honest with you, that's with a lot of things the past 10 years, you can say. Technology is starting to reach its peak. Video games graphics haven't really improved like that. Have they gotten better? Yeah, a little bit, but graphics haven't really improved drastically. Movies, subpar. iPhone's been the same for the past 6, 7 iPhones. So things have kind of peaked right now until there's something new that comes out with AI. Maybe AI is going to kind of add some new flair to things. So just in general, we'll keep our eyes posted on this lawsuit, but just in general, I kind of got off track, but this movie did not look good. A lot of movies haven't looked good in recent times, in my opinion. And yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on this, but 50's ruthless when it comes to these lawsuits, so we'll see what happens. Continuing on, Drake, he's got something to say. He's got something to voice. He's got his opinion, right? And he's making it very clear, man. There's been a lot of speculation on this Iceman album that he's got coming out. Is it going to be his last album? What is he saying on this album? What's going on? Regardless, Drake went to Instagram, as he normally does, and posted some photos. And in the caption, he said something that was really interesting. He said, "My first thought when they get to talking out the side of their mouth is never fear or doubt. It's they obviously got an album coming out." So obviously that rhymes, which Drake kind of has these moments where he puts out these little rhymes. But is this true? Do certain artists, especially with Drake, diss just because they got a project coming out? With Kendrick, I disagree. GNX came out a lot later. It didn't come out during the battle. Had GNX came out right after, let's just say a month after Not Like Us came out, I could see where Drake's coming from. But GNX came out way later. We're talking 5 months later, maybe 6 months later. Pusha T, Clips, I guess you can kind of make the argument, but was he really going at Drake? Here and there, but it wasn't anything I don't know. Is it smart? Yeah, I mean, it's a smart business tactic. Why not go after, a lot of people did this. When 50 was at his top, he didn't care, though. He's giving people promotion. He even said it with the Rick Ross thing. He was like, oh, you're hot right now, but you'll see it'll affect you later on. And with Ross, it has affected him way later on. The blow came a lot later. 50 would say, oh, it was because of, and he was wrong with this. And I knew he was completely wrong with this. He said when the battle started happening, he said, yeah, he did well on his album, his solo album, but the blow didn't happen yet. When the Triple C's came out, it only did 8,000 copies first week. That's when the blow happened. And I'm like, you can't compare a solo album to a group album. They just don't sell as well. And Triple C's wasn't promoted properly like a Rick Ross album was. But then when Rick Ross dropped an album later on, he did 160, 180, same as 50 Cent did first week with Before I Self-Destruct. So, that 50 was obviously in the wrong with, and he was just trying to prove to people that he still had it and he could still kill people's careers, whatever. But it was it's a smart tactic to go against who's hot at that moment and then release a project because all eyes are on you. Pusha T did do it with the first go around with the Infrared when he has an album coming out. So he has a point there. I don't know. I mean, is it a big deal? It's a smart move. I don't really see anything wrong with it. Why not use the biggest name? Of course, people could say, Drake is such a big artist. They have to use his name to get hot and sell records. So what? Hey, he's dumb enough to respond to somebody that's lower. That's the way you could see it too. Regardless, I love the hip-hop beefs as long as they don't escalate to anything crazy. I love the battle. I love it. I can't get enough of it. And speaking of battles and hip-hop beefs and disses, I am going to be working, after I finish the album-only version of this 50 Cent Top 50 Cent Songs list. Album-only, what I mean by is album-only tracks and singles that came out. I know I promised I was going to release it probably a week ago, but just been busy with trying to get these interviews done and trying to do these little mini documentaries that I'm working on. So I'll focus on that, get that version out, and then I'm going to do a top 50 diss tracks of all time list. It's going to take me a little while to finish that up, but I'm going to do that list next and then give your guys' I want to see what you guys think of that, get your guys' opinion on that. But hey, even if artists do this, man, it makes sense. I can understand it, but Drake made it clear that, hey, you guys are just using me for clout. And hey, might be the case. Continuing on, Bas, who is, I don't know how to pronounce his name right. I hope I am. Bas, who is signed to J. Cole's Dreamville, defended Drake. So let's go over the article. Drake is currently no stranger to criticism, and recently Dreamville's Bas decided to come to his defense during an episode of Ebro's Rap Life Review podcast this week. He had a few things to say about the Toronto rapper, and they weren't exactly positive. I'm not just talking about the rando fans on the internet, bro. Listen, a lot of these fans and a lot of people on the internet, y'all don't even love hip-hop like that, he began. You're just fans of an individual. We are having a hip-hop conversation about something that has literally saved our lives, put food on people's plates, and a culture that has been inclusive culture of all different types of ideas and music and expression of all these things for fucking 50 years. We're talking about something that we love and care about. I'm not just talking about comments and fans and fucking trolls and all this other stupid ass shit. And even during the whole rollout, Ebro continued, and I hate going back to the beef, but guess who keeps bringing the fucking beef up? Who said we wasn't going to be talking about this summer? But guess what the fuck we're talking about, man? So we're not supposed to bring that up either. We're just supposed to ignore. We're supposed to act like these things didn't happen because you're popular. Come on, man. That's whack. Well, Bas saw the post, and in the comments, he decided to chime in. So this is what he had to say. Let's go over it. My 2 cents, Ebro. Drake is among the most, if not the most, inclusive of our artists of our culture has put forth. He's pushed countless rappers to the forefront, dancehall artists, Afrobeats artists, R&B artists, reggaeton, older artists, newer artists, etc. I don't get this culture narrative that's persisted since the battle. If it's the Canadian thing, Toronto is an hour flight from NYC, LOL. I'd argue their culture and ethnic makeup is more akin to NYC than pretty much any city in the States. I agree with that. NYC and Toronto is damn near the same thing. NYC, Toronto, London are trumutive culturally. I butchered that word. Surely it's not his pen. He's arguably the greatest writer of a generation. So what is it? Listen, I agree 100%, man. And people don't like to hear this. People don't. There's Drake haters online that just hate Drake's guts no matter what. Maybe because he's been winning for so long. Maybe because they think he's too soft. Whatever the case may be. I'm not a Drake hater, and I'm also not this Drake stan where I support everything Drake does. But Bas has a point here. Drake has put on for lots of different styles of music. Drake has always shown love to older, newer, whoever the case may be. Drake is somebody who studied hip-hop. I mean, the guy literally, the guy grew up on Clips, Pharrell, all this stuff. He's beefing with them, and I'm sure that hurts his heart to his soul. He knows listen, like the YG, Who Do You Love? That flow and cadence was from a way older artist. I forget the name, man. I'm going to get cooked for not remembering this. But people are saying, oh, he stole that, blah, blah, blah. No, he's paying homage. There's differences between. I know he got into a lawsuit with him, but something happened along. Regardless, the fact that he even knows that type of style, flow, and delivery, that shows to you is like, hey, this guy knows the history of hip-hop. This guy isn't just some guy who became a fan, within 2 years and decided to make rap music. No, this guy's been a fan for a long time. I mean, you can see old videos of him when he was an actor, like 13, 14 years old, showing the camera all the CDs he has of hip-hop, from Jay-Z to whoever you can think of. He had a CD of that artist at the time. So to think that Drake is just some culture vulture, some guy who doesn't respect the culture, and it's just, it's absurd, because when you actually look at the details of things, this guy is more than well equipped with hip-hop knowledge and history and respects new and old, and has put on a lot of artists. If it wasn't for him, a lot of artists wouldn't be where they're at right now. And some of them are beefing with him right now. And I'm not talking about Kendrick. I'm talking about A$AP Rocky. I'm talking about, who else, man? He's helped Meek Mill, and they're beefing at a certain point. There's a lot of artists, man. I can't think off the top of my head, but he's written for a lot of artists too. Maybe not hip hop artists, but R&B. And I actually talk about that in the Hot Rod interview on part 2, I believe. So that's coming out literally as this podcast is out. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what Bas is saying. Continuing on, DJ Paul chimes in. So 3-6 Mafia's DJ Paul chimes in. And he says it clearly. He says, Drake is the best artist I've ever worked with, especially how he does business. Plus, his power is unbelievable. One track with him in 2019 totally rebirthed my production to other big artists. Look at that. That's homage from DJ Paul, another artist in hip hop. So that tells you right there, there's a lot of respect towards Drake. The people that don't respect him are just upset either at him being dominant for so long, or they don't like that he raps and sings, or that they think he's soft, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different things that you can hate on Drake for, but to say that he's a culture vulture, or that he doesn't respect hip hop, or that he's just some guy that got into music and doesn't care about it, no. He could have easily transitioned to straight pop and just gone a whole different route. I mean, there's some artists that have done that, but he decided to stick into hip hop, stick into working with hip hop artists and delivering still hip hop music to this day. Some people might not like it. Some might think it's pop rap, but he has records where he just raps straight up. So shout out to DJ Paul. Shout out to Bas for being one of the people that, or two of the people that stand up and defend him, because he's getting a lot of flack online for unfortunate reasons. Let's get into new music. Metro Boomin dropped A Futuristic Summer, which is a play on like the earlier Atlanta sounds. It's got like earlier artists from Roscoe Dash to Young Dro. So I haven't checked it out yet. I think I heard like 2 or 3 tracks, but that's really interesting. It's something that, you know, I wish more newer generation of artists would do. Yeet dropped Dangerous Summer. 2 Chainz dropped Red Clay, the soundtrack. Juicy J dropped Head on a Swivel, the album. YG dropped Lover or Friends. Saweetie dropped Hella Pressure, the EP. Honest and Lil Yachty dropped For Show Dat. Designer dropped It, I think, or 2 album. Logic dropped Witness. Honest and Lil Yachty dropped For Show Dat, which they put that twice on there. It's interesting. And I think that's it for new music. Yep. And then album sales, number 1, Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem, 143,000 sold. This guy has been dominating, killing it. Number 2, K-pop, Demon Hunters, the soundtrack, 93,000. Number 3, debut, Tomorrow Together, the Star Chapter, 66,000. Tyler, the Creator, is down at number 4 with 59,000 for his album Don't Tap the Glass. Justin Bieber's at number 5 with Swag with 52,000 sold. NBA Youngboy debuts at number 6 with Massa, 51,000 sold. First week, Ozzy Osbourne is at number 7. Essential Ozzy Osbourne is probably the greatest hits album, 48,000 sold. Travis Scott, Jack Boys 2 at number 8 with 46,000 sold. Alex Warren, number 9, You'll Be Alright Kid with 44,000 sold. And Tyler Childers, Snipe Hunter, debuted at number 10 with 44,000 sold. Going down the list, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Alfredo 2 debuted at number 12 with 37,000 sold. SZA SOS, number 13 with 36,000 sold. Clips at number 14 with 33,000 sold. Party Next Door and Drake, number 21 with 23,000 sold. Kendrick Lamar GNX, number 23 with 22,000 sold. Drake Take Care, number 35 with 17,000 sold. That's it for hip hop projects. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please support on Patreon and YouTube memberships. More artist interviews are coming. Appreciate you guys. As always, Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.